Hello, my name is Susan Rainey, and I wanted to share a new technique that I call invisible stranding. And what it's used for are projects such as the one that you see here. This is a Dale of Norway sweater that I was working on and was quite unhappy with. As you can see, there are very bold motifs with very intense colors, and they cross over a background that is white. And so everywhere I went across and was carrying my floats, you would see a pucker and then that dot of color that would show through. And so this whole section was all covered in speckles of the other color and the puckering. So I just didn't like the way it looked, and I set it aside for quite a while, kind of hoping for a miracle. And lo and behold, through the miracle of Ravelry, I did discover a technique that would work in this situation. There was a discussion on a Ravelry board, and someone had shared a picture of a store-bought Scandinavian sweater, and they showed the back of it, and you could see stitches on the back, and we were kind of wondering what that was. And basically these stitches were connecting the floats on the back to other floats. So instead of twisting and getting the attaching the float to the front side of the fabric, you use these extra stitches to attach the floats to other floats. And so I applied this technique to my sweater, and it worked perfectly. So you have, as you can see, I don't know what that's doing there, but as you can see, you have these extra stitches. They are connecting the floats to each other, and they are not connected at all to the right side. You can see that they are completely disconnected here, but they are solid because they are connected to each other. So what I wanted to do was share this fabulous technique with other people, and so what I did was I designed a hat, and the hat is called It's Not About the Hat, because it is about the technique. And so you'll see again a very bold, colorful design. I didn't want to use more than one color because I didn't want to bother with all that. I wanted it to be very simple and focus on the technique itself. So you'll see there are white areas, and typically if you were doing traditional stranding, you would see little catches on those white areas, but you don't see anything. It's all unbroken, and that is because we are using the invisible stranding technique. So when we look on the inside, you can see those lines that we saw on the other pictures of the sweater, and you can see those lines, and part of the pattern will then tell you where to place those lines, how to place those lines of stitches, and then you can see that they are not connected to the right side, and that is what keeps that right side pristine and unmarked by the stranding. You'll notice that we attach this extra layer at the bottom when we start our stitches. That's also attached when we do work with the blue color on the pattern side. I mean, obviously we're using the blue to create part of the pattern. And then when we get to the top, I will show you the technique I invented to make this invisible across the top as you rejoin it to the back side of the hat, so that when you go up into the crown area and you go to a single color, you do not see any of that blue showing through as you convert to the single color for the crown. I have YouTube video tutorials that accompany the pattern so that you can learn the technique and see it in practice.